Alright, we are in Liberal, getting ready to taxi and head to runway 22. I'm gonna take off. I've already done one intro and then realized that I did not have my controls configured, so quit the recording and did that. Yeah, I think the controls are gonna work halfway decent today, but it still might just shoot to the right out of nowhere. We're gonna see a racetrack real quick when we take off as we turn back because, well, we saw it when I was doing the little town preview or town look around after we landed because it's right next to the airport, but did not notice it at all. My brother pointed it out to me because he's actually been to this airport. And yeah, we're gonna do this little, well, if I can get the damn thing turned. Shoot around here. This should get us onto 22, and we will head off. So I've got full fuel, and if we can do a long flight, then I will do it. Weather is very boring out, and stop here and try to pretend like we know what we're doing. Part east.
Kilo Lima Bravo Lima traffic Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 taking off runway 17 departure to the east.
No, not 17. I don't know why it changed. Anyways, we're taking off on 22 because clearly wind is right in our face. And this is the heaviest we're going to be for a bit, so get up in the air, climb out. And hopefully that wind will be somewhat of a tailwind the whole way for us. Let's turn to the left here. Continue to climb as much as we can. We're going to lose a bit of speed here. Actually turn the landing lights off. So Tulsa, Oklahoma is 2.5 hours away. And if I don't get too bored, I might try to make that. That's going to be a long-ass flight and a little boring, I assume. But we'll see. Maybe the landscape will get interesting. So, the racetrack is that circle right there. Somehow, I mean, I saw the circle, but I didn't think racetrack because it was so circle-like. It's pretty much like a dirt Oxford Plains. But, yeah, here we go. We're going to head straight east, which is magnetic east, which is going to take us down into Oklahoma from here, because we're right on the border. And that should get us headed in the direction we want to go. Looks like we are trucking along already. Get us climbing. And take a look back at the town. Every Midwest town looks like this with the railroad and highway going through the center of town. There we go. Oklahoma's right over there. try to get up in the air a bit more, maybe get a really good tailwind. I mean, it's going to be difficult to ever run into a headwind through this area. The worst we're going to get is wind straight out of the north at this time of year. But we should be alright, and the higher we get, we might get a bit more wind. But yeah, the goal here is we have taken off from Liberal. We want to head straight east, which is going to take us around here. And if we can make it to, I think this is Stillwater? No, that's Enid. Cool. If we don't make it that far and I get bored and want to stop flying, then we'll find a place to stop at. But let's go ahead and talk to Kansas City.
Kansas City Center, Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 is type Cessna 152 6 miles east of Kilo Lima Bravo Lima 4,500 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 Kansas City Center. Squawk Tree 664.
Squawk Tree 664 Cessna Oscar November 5.
Cessna Oscar November 5 radar contact 6 miles east of Kilo Lima Bravo Lima 4,700 feet. Altimeter tree 0.37.
Roger, Cessna Oscar November 5.
Alright, so that'll allow us to hear some other things happening around us as we go. Taking a look to see. Don't have any towns around us, although we got a little tiny village down here. Not even sure what that would be. Doesn't really come up on the map. We are slightly turning to the left this time with the calibration. At 5,000 feet now. Still chugging along at 90 knots with this slight climb that we're doing. Once we get, I don't know, we could probably go 6,000 and call that good. But yeah, as you can see, not a whole lot happening in the sky or on the ground. We got some sand hills and farm. That's about it. And random buildings made in the middle of pivots. So yeah, this is going to just be a long flight, and right now there's not even going to be a whole lot to look at. I think as we get a little further south, we're going to come up on Highway 64 in Oklahoma, and we're going to see some small towns along the way there, but that's, we're talking very small towns. The ground's going to be slowly falling away from us as well.
Alaska 1406, contact Kansas City Center on 126.905. Good day.
Alaska Air down here. Where the hell they would fly to look that up. Alaska 1406.
For Alaska 1406.
That is Seattle to Oklahoma City. Okay. That is a weird flight, but I guess. There is a reason for it. Let's hop outside. So yeah, we got sand hills over here. You see a little bit of elevation change through the sand hills. I'm trying to figure out, I assume these are real. I wanted to make sure it wasn't fake terrain that was getting put in. There's some weird stuff going on with it, but it's definitely real aerial images.
American 2470, Kansas City Center, continuous planned.
Alright, we're at 6. I'm going to drop the nose just a bit. Back the throttle off just a tiny bit. Mixture. Really wish we had a percentage there. Now they got rid of that. So we're essentially leveled off here. Is that my controls or the wind? I think that's my controls. So yeah, here we are. A little creek running through the sand hills. I think we are north of Forgan, Oklahoma. That's what my guess is going to be. What we need to see now is, well, we're heading in the direction of these creeks, as you can see it going around here. So that is good. We'll continue along these. That's going to take us to that little reservoir that we're kind of aiming for. Then we will try to figure out where we are. It should be fairly simple though. We're staying on track and not having issues. It's just, look at that, just farmland over and over and over and over. A decent sized road here. Try to figure out what that is. It's just a gravel road, I think. It was just wider than everything else. You know, we might be further than I thought, because I think I just picked out that. So, to our right, we might have a highway to pick out. This creek, though, is so windy on the map. It's ridiculous, but I think the highway is somewhere along here. Making good time, though, with 94 knots, 93 knots. We're still climbing just a little bit. Eventually that's going to even itself out. I'm not too worried about getting up a little higher, because I think the higher we get, the better tailwind we're going to get through this area.
Giant Tree 830, contact Kansas City Center on 125.0.
Giant. 3830. Alright, I gotta figure out what that is.
.2 for Giant Tree, 830.
No idea. Yeah, I have no information on that I can get off of just Giant. Alright. Looking around. That's a paved road. We gotta kind of figure out where we're at, and got some what appears to be fog that was captured in the aerial images. And then there's a few oil fields popping up now. We're going to end up a lot further east, I think, than I expect. But the main thing that we got to go off of is we've got the reservoirs, and then that can point us in the right direction. Thinking that we might be close to Buffalo, Oklahoma, but really hard to tell. Everything kind of looks the same, and it's a very small town. But maybe not, because we should have a road, pretty major paved road, north of this creek. And I don't see that, so we might still be west of Buffalo. Or I'm looking at the wrong creek. Which could be the case. We might not even be in Oklahoma right now. But we'll get it figured out. Once we do the next series after this, it's going to be a lot less trying to figure out where we're at and just more flying, and not even really flying, but autopilot, GPS, and knowing exactly where we're at all times. Which will allow me to do more research on where we're at, learn some things, but at the moment, this is just like hopping in the car and driving and not having a real plan. Some little hills up here. Yeah, I haven't seen a major highway north or south of us, so we might be further north than I think. But we are, we've been heading further, like slightly south of east.
Kansas City Center Southwest 1220 is passing flight level tree 905 descending 10,000 feet. Southwest 1220 Kansas City.
Alright, so we're almost up to 7,000. Plane's starting to level off on its own now. As for where we are actually at, not quite sure. See, this is why this game, like this right here, is just, you would never get this detail in other games. Unless you did a bunch of modding, which is very annoying to do. It looks so good. And this right here, no one cares about this. No one's gonna go, oh, this is wrong or right, but even though I don't know what this looks like in real life, I know that it's pretty damn close to everything with the aerial images and then the elevation data that they have, and it just adds so much to flying over very boring flat places like this. Alright, I might have an idea where we're at, because it looks like we've got some dried up reservoirs right in front of us, and I think that is what is being depicted.
Kansas City Center Frontier Flight 759er Heavy is passing flight level 375, descending 10,000 feet.
If that is the case, then we are way farther west than I thought. And, yeah, not even close to Buffalo. So, we'll see, though. We should have a road or town somewhere down south, but I'm still not seeing anything down there. We're just going to continue to follow this creek. It's going to take us to a river, and we should be able to figure out where we're at by then. But if this is what I think it is on the map, which it might not be, but if it is, then we should be coming up on a major road. Let's get headed more east again. We're starting to get turned a little too far south. You know what? No, those are just, I don't know what they are. Maybe some very dried up ground for a pivot. It's definitely not a dried up reservoir. Oh, so, doesn't look like we're actually at where I thought. This creek starts going back north.
Southwest 2237, Kansas City Center, continuous plan.
There's another creek coming in from the south, maybe? So I might have an idea of where we're at now. So best guess I've got right now is we are here at this point. So then there should be a major road, Highway 283, coming up. But I've been wrong about everywhere else that I thought we were, so... I mean, there is not a damn thing out here, so it's really hard to fully gauge where I'm at, but that is the best guess I've got right now. So if we see a big highway, then we're way further west than I thought, and overestimated how fast we were going looking at the map, but we're still making good time.
Cessna Oscar November 5, contact Kansas City Center on 126.905. Good day.
Going to 126.905, Cessna Oscar November 5. Kansas City Center, Cessna Kilo November, Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5, 7,100 feet.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5, Kansas City Center, altimeter 30.27, continue as planned.
Alright. And as planned means get lost and try to figure out where you actually are. Alright, so yeah, this creek comes up into this creek, then they both go north. Got some red ground down here. I'm sure those are fairly decent sized hills for plains. Double check our heading. Magnetic east is not lined up with straight east roads, so that's making it difficult to just look out the window and know where we're headed. See, this is cool land. And is this our highway? I believe it is.
Kansas City Center, American 433 is passing flight level 325, descending 10,000 feet.
Alright, so
American 433, Kansas City Center, continuous.
we are right at here. Somewhere here. So that means we will be heading towards Buffalo. Still got a long ass ways to go to get anywhere decent. But that was always going to be the case. That up there, is that the reservoir that I wanted to head towards? Accidentally closed down. No, I don't know what that would actually... It might be the reservoir. Alright, well, at least we know where we are at the moment. Highway 283. And then, yeah, there's going to be a highway going straight off of that. up over here somewhere. We're just going to continue down this way. It's a big dive to the right. So now I can pretty much just aim for that reservoir up there. The town of Buffalo is going to be pretty much in between us and the reservoir. Some farms down there, sand hills along the creeks. Right now we are pretty much lined up with where the panhandle ends for Oklahoma. To give you an idea of how far we are to the east. Definitely in Oklahoma. Now we just continue along this. Nothing along the horizon. It's not a cloud or a hill. Now once we get past into Arkansas, then I have no idea what the landscape's going to look like. I'm going to assume a little hillier and more trees. That's based off of absolutely nothing other than what I assume it is.
Envoy tree 906, you are 9 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 17 approach.
We're still running at about 93 knots.
Southwest 260, flight contact Kansas City Center.
Just above 7,000.
Good day.
And fuel-wise, we can go a long ways still.
Vectors visual runway 17 approach. Envoy tree 906.
Ground getting more reddish color, kind of what you associate Oklahoma with. The town of Buffalo's got to be coming up. Like maybe there. This is like probably not even going to be able to see actual Buffalo. We'll only be able to see the small airport. But yeah, this part of the world, like, I think that's actually a bit of snow and frost on the ground. Too much. Maybe that's the airport there, and that's the town. I think that's what we got going on here. I don't see anything else that really matches up with what we're seeing. Yeah, that looks like the best case. So there's Buffalo, Oklahoma, if you ever wanted to see it. And there's their little airport quite a ways away from town. Or I could be completely wrong.
Kansas City Center Southwest 2825 is passing flight level 385 descending 10,000 feet. Southwest 2825 Kansas City Center continuous planned.
Alright. Continue to aim directly for the reservoir there. Yep, so that's Buffalo. That's the airport. We are on the right track. Not very far, but we've only been flying for about 35 minutes. So, to give you an idea, we are approaching here. We took off from here. We want to go maybe to here, or even further to here. So, as you can see, a long ass ways to get anywhere decent, but yeah, I gotta start taking bigger chunks of flights like we started off with, just because doing 40-minute flights isn't gonna get us very far. Yeah, there's the airport, I think. Maybe not. And it's... no. Alright, I thought that was the airport. There's the airport. Much closer. I mean, you can see how that kind of looked like an airport. I thought there was just a big ass ramp or something. But there we go. I love how these airports just blend in like they should. Right now it is 1:52 local time. We've got a lot of time that we can fly for. We're closing in on using a quarter of a tank of fuel already. I could do a lot better on that. We could probably mixture back even more. But I'd rather go fast. And get a big chunk of this done. So, alright, so the next thing, we're going to go over this reservoir. And I gotta decide, I could follow that down. So there's a quite large river reservoir system off the end of this. That would take us directly into Enid. And then from Enid, we could just follow a highway all the way to Tulsa. So we might do that. It's not the most direct approach. feedlot. Yeah, so we'll see off the end of this how easy it looks to follow the river. Big oil field there. And that's going to take us down into more of a populated location of Oklahoma, which may or may not make it easier to follow where we're at. Honestly, I'd never heard of Enid, Oklahoma before I started looking at this map, so it's a fairly large town. Yeah, it looks like most of this is all dried up, which it kind of shows on the map, so not sure if it is just natural or if it used to be a reservoir and then they built one further down or in a different area. Kind of looks like the whole river does it, so it might just be natural.
6 Golf Bravo, contact Kansas City Center on 134.0. Good day.
Or there's a dam further up the river.
134.0, generic 6 Golf Bravo.
That was wind and not me. I don't know if you've seen the airplane just get beat around there, but random turbulence there. So yeah, I think we're gonna start heading off south. Look like we got a little elevation there, or is it just, I think maybe it's just coloration that's making it look like it's elevation. So we are coming up on this, and then we're going to follow all the way down, and maybe we just turn off there and then follow that highway. So we can start cutting across. Kind of direct a little better. Save us some time. Since we are at 7,000 and see well ahead of us, and then this should be Freedom. There should be an airport over there to it. Yeah, these are definitely, I don't know, maybe not, maybe it's not winter. Maybe it's just the coloration of the sandy land exposed. got the Nebraska game on in the background, and, well, they're terrible. Getting beat by Minnesota right now, and they just got a safety on Nebraska. So, had we won against Michigan and Oklahoma, well, none of it mattered anyways, because we lose stupid games like this. Whoa, that was another big burst of air. Highway going under us, and that is nothing worth naming on the map. And you know what? Freedom is actually up here somewhere. So this goes a lot further down before we get to that town that I was talking about, so. Now there is a Highway 64 that we could follow along, but that's going to keep us a little too far north and going to be harder to distinguish where this river looks like it's going to be fairly easy to follow, even though there's not much of it, but you can clearly see it's going that way. Maybe use this for the screenshot. And that didn't save correctly. Sorry, gotta do that again. Much easier to get the screenshot now. And usually I can do it without too many issues, but screwed it again apparently. There, I finally got it. Okay, hopefully we're not heading towards the ground. We're okay. But we turned very far south. Alright, so got the river to our left. Looks like it might start going that direction, so we're just going to aim for here. Then we will follow it when we get a better idea of where it's going. But yeah, I've got more of a rocky, sandy looking ground around here now. So the landscape has changed up quite a bit. The red is fading away, although it looks like there's still some here the further you dig down. Have gained a bit of altitude. lost a tiny bit of speed since we've started to turn south a little more. But we're also accidentally climbing, but not that worried about that. And we are almost done with the first quarter tank of fuel. Assume that this follows there, and then that over there is a massive Great Salt Plains reservoir. I'm gonna assume that. So that is about in line. That there is right about in line with Enid, so Enid's might be right around there. But yeah, you can see as you get lower, the ground gets redder as the creeks dig in. Where are these? That is some interesting. I have no idea. Like, I get this here, why we have the paths here because they're on hills, but that looks very odd. Alright. Feel like I can make it pretty far right now. Flight has been interesting enough for me. For you, I doubt it, but yeah, let's find out about Enid. Town that I've never heard of. Maybe it's got something that I have heard of, and I'm probably saying it completely wrong. Yeah, it's got 50,000 people, so it's the size of Grand Island, Nebraska. It's got a few bigger buildings in it. But yeah, just a town. Nothing all that great there. Just Green Town. And I don't even see anything that would, like, college-wise. And obviously Oklahoma State's not there. Oklahoma's not there, so it's just oil and wheat. And then,
Oscar November 5, contact Vance approach on 126.75. Good day.
Vance
126.75
approach.
Cessna Oscar November 5. Vance approach Cessna Kilo November Echo Bravo Oscar November 5, 7,800 feet.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 Vance approach altimeter tree 0.26 continue as planned.
Yeah, so I don't really have too much info. Nothing that would make me go, oh, okay, that's there. So it's just a big small town, pretty much. And we got even better landscape now below. Bluffs cut out here along the river that we're going to continue to follow. I think this is actually the town that we wanted to just shoot off from. Looks like it. Winoka. So it's got a bunch of sand down here, which looks like that right there. So we're just gonna follow this road and then hopefully have that over to Enid. And hey, we got clouds on the horizon. Yeah, that is a ton of sand right there. So pretty much we're just gonna head that direction now. Gotten far enough south. We'll just head pretty much east again. And that should take us to Enid, which is going to be kind of our halfway point. Maybe a little past halfway. Yeah, it's quite a ways past halfway actually. Maybe we're closing in on the halfway point of this if we're going to Tulsa. So, where you can't farm, there's oil. Getting back into flatter ground here. We've got, is that a railroad cutting across there? Yeah. This is a railroad heading out. Then that actually loops back down around, oddly enough. We're definitely going to start seeing more and more towns now. Looking for a random racetrack. That's crazy though that there's this random just sand dunes out here. Alright. Back in the cockpit, so I could tell the plane was going left. let me see if I can find out if there's any racetracks around here. So I know there was a lot of tracks when I was driving through Oklahoma on my way to down to the F1 race a few years ago. So we are... Well, there's Enid Speedway, so we now know that there's a racetrack in the middle of town there. That's Fairgrounds. Okay. So we'll see that. And then got maybe some motocross tracks, and then it's like a few tracks at Tulsa. So we will see what we can spot. We're up to 8,000 now. Alright, so looking at the river, that river's just going to fade away to the south as it heads down towards Oklahoma City. Oh, okay. Vance is an Air Force base at Enid. Can't believe that didn't show up, or I just missed it when I was reading through that. So I'm gonna assume that is why it's a bigger town. So this is just a bit west of Enid, so Enid's got to be right there. Hopefully it's not pronounced Enid. Let's see if I can get a... Nope, looks like I'm saying it right. Yeah, land has gotten flat once again on the north side of this river. It's still a bit hilly on the south side. Should see some wind farms.
Oscar November 5 contact Vance approved on 120.525. Good day.
120.525 for Cessna Oscar November 5. Vance approach Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5, 8,200 feet.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 Vance approach altimeter 30.35. Continue as planned.
Alright, so we should see some wind farms. Like a lot of them. coming up. They're not really sticking out to me, but I guess also kind of blends into all the oil fields. And we might be too high for it to actually put the turbines in. Bit too direct with the roads. How far into this flight are we now? Hour and 7 minutes in. Yeah, you know what? We can make it to Tulsa. Be good to knock a bunch of Oklahoma out of the way in one trip. Power line shooting across there. We've got some stuff forming up here finally. I mean, tiny clouds that aren't going to do anything, but we've also got to kind of be careful about cloud cover now because, well, it's cold, and we do not need to ice up the windows because it is not going to de-ice itself. So we're going to avoid any clouds. May have to drop down a bit if we get closer up there. But yeah, it's just air is getting colder up top, and it's not warm enough down on ground level to clear it off. So, all right, we got a lake over there. Alright, that is Canton Lake. Gives me an idea of where we're at, and we should have another railroad going. Maybe that was no, that was definitely a power line. The railroad should be shooting under us. I think this is Clio Springs. Right there. We got some clouds back behind us now too. Alright. Stuff is starting to form up. So then out of town here, alright, I gotta figure this out. There should be a highway crossing there, and then, is that the highway? Yeah, that's gonna be the highway that leads us into Enid, which is right there. So now we can just kind of follow along on that. And then looking at the town, it's going to be kind of on the north side of town for the racetrack, so. We're just going to head directly with the roads now. Check out what the weather is in Tulsa. It's actually going to get up to 70, so it's not as cool as I thought. The winds are pretty low, so no chance of rain. Clouds off to our right now. They're definitely going to be lower than us, I think, if we were heading at them. The ones directly in front of us, we might have to, I don't know. We'll see when we get closer. And once we get to Tulsa, we don't have very far to go to Arkansas, so the next flight will be flying from Oklahoma into Arkansas, and yeah, it's knocking off some miles. But still a long, long ways to go with all of this. So it looks like I have a town of Menu down here. The Air Force Base, I think, is right there. It's going to be on the south side of the highway. Yeah, there's starting to be more clouds popping up. Small, tiny things that shouldn't affect us at all, but I think we need to be safe because I'm not going to be able to land this thing if this window gets iced up. we're still going 93 knots. We're approaching 9,000 feet now. Definitely getting close to a lot more population. See a bit of fog or cloud that was in the aerial photo there. Guessing that we're okay on altitude. We're going over or near this Air Force base. Not seeing anything that pops out. Saying how high I've got to be. But I also don't really know what I'm looking for.
November 5 contact advance approach on 118.07. Good day.
118.07 Cessna Oscar November 5. Advance approach Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5, 8,700 feet.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 advance approach altimeter tree 0.34 continue as planned.
Oops, that's not what I wanted. Damn it, why do I always do that? I gotta say okay.
Oscar November 5 advance approach cancellation received. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Advance approach Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 is type Cessna 152 tree miles northwest of 4 Oscar 7.
I think this is Menno here.
Request flight following.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 advance approach. Squawk 6654.
Squawk 6654 Cessna Oscar November 5.
Cessna Oscar November 5 radar contact 3 miles north of 4 Oscar 7 8,600 feet. Altimeter tree 0.34.
Roger Cessna Oscar November 5.
Alright, so just a bunch of this tiny ass towns as you get into population. Now, this is Enid here. I don't see the Air Force Base. And there it is. I guess it's further. I thought it was a little farther out from town, but it's right there. So we're gonna go left here just a bit and try to find this racetrack. Air Force Base, and then there's going to be the actual public airport back behind there, and then we continue down 64, and that will take us to Tulsa. So it is now 2:35. I mean, these little towns look so good too from this height. like, this right here looks amazingly realistic. Now it's probably missing a grain bin. That should be sticking up, and it's just a regular building that the AI put, but still really good. This town doesn't really look all that big. Kind of surprised. I was expecting something a little larger for 50,000, but we'll see. Yeah, this looks really small for 50,000. I think that's going to be the racetrack there. There's the Air Force Base. Local airport's gotta be maybe that, or maybe that back further. But yeah, it's just a town really out in the middle of nowhere. There's not even that major of a river nearby. Going over the tops of these clouds, so we're fine on those. I don't even know if we'll get to those that are higher up ahead on the horizon, but yeah, I mean, I guess this is a big town, but seems very, I'm guessing there's a lot of apartments and everything for the Air Force Base, so it's just kind of condensed. Not too worried about the direction we were headed, but just wanted to make sure that I wasn't looking at it weird, because it looked like we were flying sideways a bit. So, the racetrack, I would say it's that, but it doesn't really look like. That Air Force Base is pretty small as well. The racetrack, because that's not it. I think, alright, right there with the fairgrounds, it's kind of getting blended in with the green that's around it. Looks like it used to be a bigger track or a horse track, and then they cut it in half. Come up here and take a little closer look. So there's the racetrack. And I'm gonna guess that maybe there's a horse track around the outside, or maybe it used to be larger and they downsized it, because that's what every place is doing now. But now we move on. There's the private local airport. So, we are now heading... I mean, I guess we could head down to Stillwater, which is somehow smaller than this town. Stillwater is going to be pretty much this direction on this railroad. Let's go there, and then that'll be straight east to Tulsa, which I know is a photogrammetry town. Just have to figure out where we're actually going to land at in Tulsa. But we'll be above these clouds and fine there. We're going over a cloud right now. Go this direction. That is going to be about 12. Because eventually the railroad is going to turn back to the east at Hayward, Oklahoma. So we just need to follow this direction, which will put us right at Stillwater. Maybe it'll be photogrammetry. Probably not. But you never know with it being a state college town. See if we can see the stadium. If it is photogrammetry, if it isn't, it's going to look pretty bad. Yeah, maybe we'll just land at Tulsa International. Try to figure out... I mean, it should be fairly easy to spot where the Chili Bowl is in the building. Yeah, we definitely won't get to those clouds that are clear out there. It's been a decent flight. Glad that I'm getting much of it done in one sitting and not breaking it up into multiple flights. Plus this tailwind has helped us, because I'm pretty sure we're going pretty damn quick. Yeah, I mean, we're only an hour and a half into this, and we're closing in on Tulsa. Now, we're using up some fuel. Probably going to be at about a half a tank by the time we get to Tulsa. We could kick up the throttle a bit more, but really no need for it. Oops, I think that killed a bit of speed there. Alright, leaned it out too much. So now we're looking for still water. There should be a couple of lakes, reservoirs that are dammed up ahead of Stillwater. That'll make it a little easier. We're looking for this railroad to turn, and we'll just continue heading this way. I forgot about racetracks. Looking at this, there is maybe a racetrack north of Stillwater. And there's a motocross track south of Stillwater. So we might be able to spot those. Depends on what side we end up coming out of. Then it looked like there was a road course that was on the west side of Tulsa. Might be able to see that. We're also going to have to think about dropping some altitude as we get closer. I'm looking for the lakes, and they are not really standing out. Like, I got a little one there, which I think is maybe this guy. So then right in front of us should be two lakes there. This area, but maybe this isn't even on the map. If it is, there should be a town, a bigger town right around there, and maybe it's that, but I'm not really seeing that, and I might be too far. Oh wait, there we go. Here's the two lakes. Stillwater should be past that. Okay. They're just blending into the darker terrain there. So we will head for the lakes, and there's a highway going around it. Stillwater should be right there. We are still connected. Yep. Just wanted to make sure, since we haven't been told to switch a bunch of times as we left. I want to say we're going to go ahead and drop some altitude here. Trim it down just a bit. Get us down to about 6,000, because everything around here is at around 1,500 feet at a maximum, and a lot lower. Another click down, because we're gaining speed as we do this, so then it levels itself off a bit, but we're almost to 100 knots now. So as we drop, this is gonna get us a boost. I'm actually very surprised how quick this felt. On the last couple of flights, I was kind of struggling to keep interest, but it was kind of an area of the world that I knew. Like, I've driven to Tulsa before, but this is, I don't know, a little more interesting.
Contact Rogers approach on 124.2. Good day.
Going to 124.2 Cessna Oscar November 5. Rogers approach Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5, 8,500 feet.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 Rogers approach altimeter tree 0.10 continue as planned.
Rogers approach. Is that going to be Tulsa? Something around Tulsa? No. I don't know what Rogers is. We won't worry about it. Alright. Get ourselves turned here. Got the dam there. Still water back behind there. Got this highway running down right in front of us, which is Highway 35, Interstate 35? No, Highway 35. No, it might be Interstate 35. Forgot that Kansas gets a bunch of interstates kind of starting in it. And that's coming down from Wichita, so yeah. Alright, we're down to 7,900 now. Interstate, and that is crossing with this is just a little local 4-lane. It's probably like a 135 or something like that. But it's so short that, and surrounded by so much population, that it's hard to get a name on it. Alright, well, let's see where these motocross tracks are. We've got Stillwater 500. That should be... I don't think we're going to see the one north of town. We might be able to see this one. It's going to be in this area, it's looking like. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to see. It's kind of right in this area. Now, the stadium is kind of right along the highway here. But if this isn't photogrammetry, which I doubt it is, then again, it's going to be difficult to get a decent idea. I mean, we'll see the field most likely, but the buildings around it, it's just going to have buildings instead of stands. It's approaching 3 o'clock local time now. We're down to 7,500 and at 100 knots still. Just under it. Getting a little more turbulence as we get lower here. But nothing that I have to pay attention to too much. So trying to see if we can spot any type of track out here, and it looks like it's probably more of a wooded area. And so, even if we flew over it, it'd be difficult to spot. I'm just not seeing anything that I can say, oh, that's it. Just nothing in this area is really sticking out. Maybe that. Then up north, yeah, we're just too far away to be able to pick anything out like that. I mean, it's going to be narrower than most roads at some points, so. All right. Looking down here, but I guess it's not going to be something we can spot.
Oscar November 5 contact Kansas City Center on 128.3. Good day.
Going to 128.3 Cessna Oscar November 5. Kansas City Center Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 7,200 feet.
Cessna Kilo November Echo Echo Bravo Oscar November 5 Kansas City Center altimeter 30.4 continue as planned.
Alright.
Quebec 7 Kilo Charlie, you are 60 miles northeast. Descend and maintain 7,300 feet. Expect ILS runway 18 approach via Obey transition.
Alright, there's the stadium. I mean, half of this town's got to be the college. There's the airport.
Descend and maintain 7,300 feet. Expect ILS runway 18 approach via OBAY. Transition clear to OBAY. Generic 7 Kilo Charlie.
But yeah, it doesn't look...
Contact Kansas City Center on 127.
Definitely not photogrammetry. Didn't expect it to be with it being this small of a town.
Going to 127.8 Scott West 3955.
We are at 7,500 still. Kind of leveled off there, so just a bunch of the college here. I mean, like, if you look at that, how much of it is college? And you got a bunch of expansion out here, but half this town is the college, I would assume. I didn't realize that this town was so small. At least it didn't try to, like, make this buildings. At least it doesn't look like it did. Maybe the press boxes it tried, but yeah, there is Stillwater. Oklahoma State University. Alright, now we've got to take a look. We're going to follow the major highway in between Stillwater and Tulsa is a little bit to our left. We've got this highway that's going to be taking us kind of straight up there. Tulsa's right around there. We've got altitudes of around 900 to 1200 for the area. All the way up to, there's a building that's 15.
Mike Victor, contact Kansas City Center on 128.8. Good day.
But we probably got about
128.8 generic 4 Mike Victor.
30 minutes to get to Tulsa. Try to figure out where. Alright, so Hallett is going to be on the main highway into town. We're gonna see Creek County. Then there is JRP Speedway, which is a go-kart track.
Delta Tree 02, contact Kansas City Center on 127.8. Good day.
There's a drag strip next to International.
127.8.
Port City Raceway. I mean, there's a shit ton of different types of tracks around here. Let me better nav on Tulsa, just so I can get an idea of what altitudes I need to be as I'm coming in. We're looking at 2,400. 3,000 to 2,400, so got a ways to drop here. And then I also need, oops, sorry. We're definitely gonna need a bit of a map on how to get around once we land and where general aviation is, so. Pull that up. Then look for the lakes to start. It's not really a lake, but just another reservoir. Well, I don't even know if it's a reservoir. I think it's just the Arkansas River getting large at this point. Yeah, there's a couple of dams there. So we should come across the Yale, Oklahoma, which is going to be a ways down here, right here. I think that's about the point. Yeah, we'll go ahead and cancel flight following.
City Center, Cessna
And
Oscar
then
November
contact Tulsa International.
Cessna Oscar November 5 Kansas City Center cancellation received. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Maybe. I think we missed it. Or it's called something different here. It should just be... It's Cleveland. No, we might still be too far out. Yeah, must still be too far out. I'm just gonna keep that up so that when it does pop up close enough. Alright, so this is Yale, Oklahoma. We got a highway crossing with another highway, the river, which is very red at this point. It loops up and back around, and then eventually we're going to cross over, and then it's going to back itself up into a lake. Tulsa is going to be up around here. We are at 7,000. Still dropping little by little. No need to get down too quick. Alright, so Hallett, which had the road course, is going to be up around here, I think. Might be able to see it. Maybe if we cross up just a bit. So Yale's here. Hallett is going to be somewhere around here. Actually, it's showing a racetrack somewhere around here, just straight north of Yale, but again, we're going to be too far south to see it, and this road course is probably just a random little thing. I mean, it's going to be on somewhat flat land, so nothing too exciting. Start to see the edge of Tulsa, I think. Lots more roads and everything forming up in front of us. Let's see if we can contact them yet. Because it's doing it within a circle, not what's in front of us. So a lot of these are behind us, but it does not look like we're close enough yet. RVS is airport to the south of town. We got a little town down here, which is Oilton, or Oilton, who knows how they say it. And then the river starts to back up, so. Oh, you know what, Creek County's, we're not even going to see that. It's going to be much further south. I thought we were coming in on that road, but we're not. We might not see anything other than a building. We're down to 6,750.
Airport information, Oscar 2000 Zulu.
3441
at 17. Tulsa Tower, Cessna Kilo, November, Echo Bravo, Oscar, November 5 is tree 6 miles west, 6,700 feet with Papa to land.
Cessna Kilo, November, Echo Bravo, Oscar, November 5, Tulsa Tower. Altimeter tree 0.09 or 1341 at 17. Make left traffic runway 26.
Enter left downwind runway 26 Cessna Oscar November 5.
Alright. So, runway 26. So we're gonna have to go around and turn back. Kind of weird that they don't have us landing on 3.6, but we'll do what they want. So we're gonna head into town like this, because we're, like, the airport's actually right there probably. Back it off a bit more. Start to lose the altitude, get down to 4,000. Even though we're still 30 miles out. So I don't know where in town the event center actually is, but with as big as it is, we might be able to spot it. I know I've flown over it before. We should fly over Tulsa Stadium. The Golden Hurricanes. Looks like the stadium would be, trying to get a better idea of it without the prop being in the way. Stadium's going to be right about there, maybe. So we'll go ahead and turn up left here. Follow this road in. $5,500. We're still actually quite a ways out of town. I got a little ahead of myself when I seen the highways and this, so let's pick up the speed, hold this altitude here. Stadium's gonna be right there because this river bends down there. So the stadium's that. That puts the airport right about there. Should take us over a go-kart track, if we can even spot it. If I remember it. Got to just hold 5,500 as we come into town, then as we cross the river, as it goes south, then we'll drop down further. Trim this out instead of fighting it. Okay, we're good there. Definitely going faster than we have this entire trip, probably at 110 knots. Left here just a bit more. We'll be flying in right over top of the drag strip once we get turned around to land. And 5,000 feet. Try to level it there. Haven't heard a single other plane call in, so hopefully we don't get ran over. Like the last time we landed at a larger town, Salt Lake. There's downtown, as you see the buildings forming up now. Look a little weird until we get closer. And we're actually 4,500 now. Level it off here. Take a look around. Still not over town yet. Getting to the suburbs. Go-kart track is somewhere out here, like right here. It's just before this triangle. Got a plane. 4,300. Wind there caught us. Looks like photogrammetry starts on the other side of the river, so you can kind of see that different tint. A lot of this is all new suburb. Let's see if we can spot this go-kart track. Looked like it had a lot of different configurations. It might be this right here. Yep, it's right there. Looks like it might have an oval and then a road. I don't know if this oval bit is actually a track or not. I mean, I assume it would be. There you go. Sort of a racetrack. Okay, we are at 3,800 now. Crossing into town. Stadium, it looks like is on the back side of downtown, so we're going to turn up here, go check out downtown. Slow this down just a bit because we are going way too quick. And we're at 3,500. Way too low now. Just hold this and hopefully not drop any further. Got some water over the bridges there. Here we are at Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, fairly large downtown. Let's just head over there, take a quick look, because we need to go up this direction anyways. Kind of follow this main road through town. And then we'll be able to turn left and land. You can see the lights on the airport there. outside real quick, take a look downtown. And there's the Chili Bowl. So yeah, here's the Chili Bowl, big, long-ass building. It's crazy how big that building actually is. I mean, when you look at it, see these houses and how many houses are next to it, and the size of these cars down here. Can't really see the Golden Driller that well out front. And we got a little water park here. Probably getting too low. The airport off over there. I haven't seen the stadium. We're gonna have to go search for that. Might be back off this side. But we're at 3,000 feet. That's good. Crossing over these runways. I'm hoping no one's taking off or landing in this direction, even though I feel like we should be landing in that direction. Maybe they're taking off that way and landing everyone crossing. That would seem stupid though. Alright. Start to figure out how to do this. I think we'll head out of town quite a bit, then get turned, and then burn off some speed.
Cessna Oscar November 5.327 and 10. Cleared to land runway 26.
Cleared to land runway 26 Cessna Oscar November 5.
Alright, let's slow it down. Got a little bumpy there. Got a ways to go to the north. Kind of getting tossed around here. Alright, we're gonna make a left here. Try to spot the drag strip, which I think should be right under our wing. Between the wing and the strut. 2,700. Got the small airport down below us there. Altitude of the airport is 1,020, I believe. The drag strip pretty much leads us directly into the runway. Off the speed just a bit, got the end of the runway in sight. Got the drag strip in sight, I believe. Left once we can line up with that and the runway. And then we're going to bring the speed down quite a bit since it's going to be a bit of a crosswind and I've been struggling with those landings. All right. Let's get this thing slowed down more. I don't know what November 1 Hotel Charlie is doing. I assume sitting on the ramp. But as high as the numbers plate is, I don't know, maybe it's hovering. And get a little stutter there. Real quick. There's the drag strip. It has a bunch of abandoned school buses in a ditch next to it. We are very high right now. Let's get much lower without gaining too much speed. we go. Got our first red. Get the second red, and we should be okay. I don't know what this other airplane that just popped up is, but it's losing altitude and looks to be directly in front of us. I'm hoping it's not also landing. I really need a hot button to be able to just disable those labels at this point. A little low. Nice and smooth.
Cessna Oscar November 5, turn next taxiway.
Alright. We are going to turn off. That's the runway. We don't want to do that.
Tulsa Tower, American 29er, 2115 miles. South inbound visual runway 26 approach.
We want general aviation
American
parking.
2921 Tulsa Tower. Altimeter 30.
Okay, yeah, that plane just landed head on at us. I thought that was happening, but apparently it is either in-game weather or real weather or something's not matching up. Luckily, it's a long runway.
Oscar November 5, contact ground on 121.9er.
Going
I'm
to
not going to actually
121.9er,
contact
Cessna
ground
Oscar
because
November
I've got this up and we can taxi to where we need to go, even though this isn't really matching all that well. But general aviation is over here, is what I am told by this map. Well, we've made it to Tulsa. Did not think I was going to do that long of a flight, but it worked out. Let's see what we got. 2.5 hours, so just like it had predicted on the map when I looked to see how far away Tulsa would be. Can park over here with all the other general aviation on this ramp. But yeah, that was a good flight. Other than them landing an airport head on or airplane head on with us, not too terrible. Park here, and we'll go do a quick tour of the town. Since we didn't get to see too much of it, really, all that well. Parking brake on, cut. Continue. Turn all that off. Didn't turn my landing lights on, but at least I turned them off, so we're making progress. Whoops. Let's reset position. And speed up the drone. Take a look at Tulsa. So, let's first go over here and check out this drag strip. So yeah, that's right off the runway. It's very weird how just a bunch of dead school buses off to the right of it. And then let's try to find Tulsa University. And I know their stadium's not going to be that big, but you should be able to spot it. So, here's the Chili Bowl. Just how massive it is. Golden Driller. And I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And then, yeah, so we got the whole fairgrounds here, and there is the stadium. So this is probably all the university. But yeah, photogrammetry stadiums look awesome. Like how you can get that out of a bunch of 2D images is great. Can't wait till we get even more of that across the entire world. Because, I mean, that's cool. Like, look at this. I assume this is their basketball stadium. Football stadium. Big open area. But, yeah, it is awesome when you get to photogrammetry cities. Because it all just looks really good. Minor league. Really nice downtown compared to Lincoln. And they've got an ugly silver event center like Lincoln does. But yeah, there we go. Tulsa. We made it. Long trip. And hopefully you enjoyed it. And we're heading to Arkansas next. So thanks for watching.